I used to be that skinny little kiddo that would browse the internet for random memes and entertainment until I found a very peculiar trend. The No Nut November. I looked into that and discussed it with my friends. We were hyping each other up because apparently it gave you some kind of superpowers. I've heard you become the king of social interactions, your IQ gets doubled and all sorts of crazy shit like that. So I've lasted 1 week. I was young. And throughout this week, I would obsess with the challenge, thinking about it constantly, thinking about how specifically I want not to fail it. I visualized myself struggling and just enduring. Then the moment came, I did not have the willpower to endure. Then I tried again, with the 3 strikes rule and so on. Then 2 days came by and I failed again. I felt like a failure. I questioned myself, what went wrong? You might have experienced something similar. And the reason why No Nut November will destroy your brain is that your approach to the problem is completely wrong. You probably hyped yourself watching these self-improvement channels, learning about all these tips like keeping your timer or streak. The idea being that before you fail, you will feel bad about resetting your streak. But think about when you actually fail. It's usually when you're tired, when you're feeling bad. Do you think you even have the awareness or the logical reasoning to stop yourself in these situations? Of course not. You're tired, you can't be bothered. You don't think logically, you just go to bed, you're like, I'm just gonna scroll some TikTok, I'm just gonna scroll some Instagram, some fucking YouTube. Oh, look, a hot video. Oh, that reminds me. Yeah, there we go. You've heard at least one of these black-pilled losers saying, oh, these kinds of things don't work. The content creator doesn't want you to stop fapping because he can keep milking content if you're addicted to porn. So then you give up. Or you keep trying on successfully with the tips that these content creators gave you. Obsessing about winning the challenge or quitting porn as a whole. And this keeps getting worse and worse. You keep trying to quit for so long, and yet you haven't. You keep failing and it makes you feel like a failure. It's been so long and you still haven't stopped. That destroys your confidence, that destroys your mental health. So let's ask ourselves, what are you doing wrong? First of all the obsessiveness. Do you think a person who is not addicted to alcohol keeps also obsessing about not drinking alcohol? Of course not. To quit fapping, you have to forget about the habit completely. When you fail, don't obsess over it. When you fail in the gym doing a superset, when you're pushing to failure, when you're doing these low weight sets of trying to do as many of them as you can possibly do you get upset when you fail? Of course not. You do them until failure. So there are certain disciplines where you're expected to fail and it's completely natural. This is one of them. So don't stress over it. Keeping a streak will stress you out even more. And stressing you out when you're tired makes you fall into bad habits. I've mentioned it in a previous short of mine, that when you're tired, you result into habits such as procrastination. And when you have a test approaching, it stresses you out, so you're paralyzed and you don't do it. You fall into these bad habits when you're stressed and tired. So don't stress when failing in the challenge. The way you properly approach No Nut November and NoFap in general is to allow yourself to do it X amount of times per month. Like at first you will set a goal to fap no more than 20 times this month, then reduce it the next month. Now this sounds controversial, but not doing it for 30 days when you're already used to the habit is a huge challenge. Especially when it requires so much willpower and you have your life and things that get you tired, and your willpower is also a limited resource. You have to depend on it certain times, but when you can make it easier, let's make it easier. Doing a whole No Nut November, a whole 30-day streak, first try, when you've been doing the habit for years. It's like expecting a skinny rat boy just came into the gym to pick up 100 kilo bench press at the first time he goes there. So let's train this habit out of you like you would train it in the gym. Set goals monthly. Allow yourself to do it multiple times, maybe even 20. Don't start with like, okay, just 3 times this month. If you manage, all power to you. If not, allow yourself to do it 20 times, reduce it next month to like 18, 16, maybe even 15. Eventually, you stop thinking about it entirely once you get into the habit of doing it every like once a week. It's not even that bad. You shouldn't even be thinking about it. And once that's done, you don't have this identity of someone being addicted to it. Your brain incentivizes you to do the actions which align with your identity. So that if you believe you're an athlete, your brain will automatically make you want to do the athletic things because it's obvious. It wants to keep your persona together. So if your subconscious identity is that of a fatper, that is the underlying cause. So let's not fight the problem of actually doing the deed. Let's fight the cause, which is your self-image. So let's slowly change it over time. Then you will eventually get these superpowers like confidence and intellect and all that social aura. But the actual superpower is just having good mental health.